Just before noon on June 7, 1692, the city of Port Royal was the richest, most dangerous port in the New World. Pirates docked their ships beside merchant fleets. Taverns never closed. The brothels outnumbered the churches, and then, in the time it takes to read this sentence, the ground beneath the city turned to liquid. Roughly 2,000 people died in under 2 minutes. Entire buildings slid into the sea. Intact, whole, with people still inside them. Survivors watching from the hills said the city didn't collapse. It sank, like someone had pulled a plug beneath the harbor. This is not a myth. This is not Atlantis. This is the story of 3 real cities, Thonis, Heracleion, Pavlopetri, and Port Royal, that were swallowed by the sea. Civilizations that believed they were eternal, and the dark secret they all share. Each one of them was thought to be a legend, until it wasn't. Port Royal sat on a sand spit off the coast of Jamaica, a natural harbor deep enough for the largest ships in the British fleet. By the 1660s, it had earned a reputation as one of the wealthiest and most notorious cities in the world. Pirates like Henry Morgan operated openly. Slave markets ran around the clock. Contemporary accounts describe a city with more taverns than churches. And beneath that city, invisible to everyone who walked its streets, was a geological time bomb. Port Royal was built on a foundation of loose sand and water-saturated silt. A mixture that, under the right conditions, undergoes something called soil liquefaction. When an earthquake strikes, the shaking forces water up through the grains of sand. The ground stops acting like solid earth. It behaves like liquid. Buildings don't topple, they sink straight down, as if the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them whole. But here's what makes Port Royal different from every other disaster in history. Because the city sank so fast and so vertically, it was preserved, almost perfectly. When underwater archaeologists began excavating the site in the 1960s, they found the city nearly frozen in the moment it went under. A pocket watch stopped just after 11 a.m. Clay pipes still packed with tobacco. Cooking pots with food inside them. A tavern with pewter tankards still lined up on the bar, waiting for customers who never came back. The human story is even darker. Survivors, including clergy, declared it divine punishment. It had to be, they said. What else could explain a city so corrupt that the earth itself refused to hold it? The geology says otherwise. But you have to wonder what it felt like, standing on a street you'd walked 1,000 times, watching it dissolve beneath you, hearing the sea roar up through the cracks, knowing in your bones that someone, somewhere, had predicted exactly this. Over 1,000 years, Thonis Heracleion was Egypt's gateway to the world. Every ship trading between Greece and Egypt passed through its harbor. Its temple to Ammon was one of the holiest sites in the ancient Mediterranean. Pharaohs traveled there to receive crowns. Herodotus wrote about it, and then sometime in antiquity, it slipped beneath the waves. For over 2,000 years, historians assumed the city was a myth, a legend inflated by Greek storytellers. No ruins, no stone, no evidence it had ever existed. In the year 2000, a French archaeologist named Frank Godiot was scanning the seafloor in Abu Qir Bay, just off the coast of Alexandria, when his sonar pinged something that shouldn't have been there. Miles from shore, buried under centuries of silt, he found an intact temple, then a 16-foot granite statue of the god Hapi, still standing upright, then dozens of shipwrecks, an entire fleet that went down with the city, and a stone slab inscribed in both Greek and Egyptian, the decree of Nectanebo I. The piece of evidence that finally proved this sunken site was Thonis Heracleion, ending a debate that had confused historians for generations. Here's what happened. Thonis Heracleion was built on islands of clay and silt at the mouth of the Nile. Over centuries, the weight of its own temples and monuments, combined with the softening of the soil from seasonal flooding and rising sea levels, caused the ground to gradually give way. The city didn't vanish in a single night. It sank slowly over generations, punctuated by earthquakes and floods that each pulled it a little further under, until what was once Egypt's greatest port was fully claimed by the sea. Now imagine you are a priest in that temple at whatever moment the final collapse comes for you. You have spent your life serving Amun, the king of the gods. You have performed every ritual, you have kept every vow, and now you are standing in the inner sanctuary, a place only priests are permitted to enter, watching the columns buckle. The statue of Amun tilts, cracks, falls. The sea, which you were told would always obey divine order, floods the Holy of Holies. The city that was supposed to be protected by the most powerful god in Egypt sank while its priests were still inside it. If that doesn't shake your faith, nothing will. Of the three cities in this story, Pavlopetri is the oldest and the most haunting. It sits off the coast of southern Greece, in water so shallow you can wade into it. And it's not a collection of scattered stones or vague foundations. Pavlopetri has streets, houses, courtyards, a central square, more than 15 buildings with walls still standing up to 3 feet high. Roads you can trace, turn by turn, block by block, across roughly 500 square meters of sea floor. Archaeologists have dated the earliest structures to around 2800 BC. That makes Pavlopetri the oldest known submerged town on Earth. Older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, older than the Trojan War. For nearly 2,000 years, it was a thriving Bronze Age trading port. And then, around 1000 BC, it was abandoned. We know this because the pottery record stops. No later layers on top. The city just stops. Researchers believe an earthquake, or a series of them, part of the same tectonic activity that still shakes the region today, shifted the land and pulled it under. But here's the detail I can't stop thinking about. Archaeologists haven't found mass graves at the site. No skeletons trapped in doorways. And while that alone doesn't prove what happened to everyone who lived there, it opens the door to a theory that this wasn't a sudden catastrophe like Port Royal. It may have unfolded over months or years, slow enough that the people of Pavlopetri saw it coming, gathered what they could carry, and walked away. If that's true, they didn't become a myth written by someone else. They became a ghost town they may have chosen to leave behind. Imagine being the last person to leave, turning back one final time from the hills above the coast, watching the water swallow your home, your streets, your square, knowing that no one, not your children, not their children, would ever walk those roads again. That's the difference between Pavlopetri and the other cities in this story. Port Royal died screaming. Thonis Heracleion died slowly over centuries. Pavlopetri may have died in silence, its people possibly living on to remember it. 3 cities. 3 civilizations. 3 times the sea erased what people believed was permanent. Port Royal, the wickedest city in the New World, sank in 2 minutes so completely that a watch on the sea floor still marks the moment it happened. Thonis Heracleion, Egypt's gateway to the gods, vanished so slowly and so completely that for 2,000 years no one believed it was real. Pavlopetri, the oldest submerged town on Earth, drowned so quietly that its people may have simply walked away. The dark secret these 3 cities share isn't a curse. It isn't a conspiracy, it's something far more unsettling. Every civilization that ever existed believed it was the one that would last forever. The priests of Heracleion chiseled prayers into stone, certain their gods would protect them. The merchants of Port Royal counted their gold, certain the good times would never end. The traders of Pavlopetri laid streets and built homes, certain their city would stand for eternity. And in every case, the sea proved them wrong. What makes this story urgent, what should keep you awake tonight, is that these are just the cities we've found. Marine archaeologists believe there may be many more submerged sites across the Mediterranean and beyond. Entire settlements we don't know existed. Worlds we have no record of, stories that were erased so completely that not even a myth survived. Sometimes being erased is the best way to be remembered, and sometimes, the most terrifying thought of all, it's not. If you enjoyed this journey into the cities the sea tried to forget, hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into the forgotten stories that built and buried the ancient world.